I want to talk to you guys today about countering the chaos. Right? There's so much chaos in the world and even within ourselves, right? So today we're gonna talk about a little bit about the reality of the world that we live in, all of that chaos, the violence, the constant distraction, and there's really no way around it. It just is. It's what exists in our world, but there is a way in. So we're going to talk about how the best way to counter that chaos, to find that calm and peace and balance in the midst of it all, right? To practice stilling the mind. So in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, he defines yoga as the practice of stilling the fluctuations of the mind, right? So you'll gain a greater insight into and greater understanding of how to do this today, how to build a meditation practice for yourself and how that builds resilience, right? So that you can be in the world but not be so affected by it. And you'll also get my 4-step strategy for sticking with it, because let's face it, like, we're not always feeling so motivated. So I'll give you that 4-step strategy too today. Countering the chaos, right? This crazy state of the world that we live in. If you look at the big picture, there are wars going on all over the place. There are natural disasters, right? Global warming, it's getting worse, let's face it. There's so much illness and death, especially in the past few years. It feels like that's just everywhere. Violence on the streets. There's a lot of crazy. And the reality is that crazy is always there. It's just at different degrees. And then if you look at our own micro level, our daily lives are so freaking busy. There is so much going on. There's such extreme distraction, like this constant go, 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 go. Sometimes it's hard to see out of that daily overwhelm and the daily responsibilities. Even think about trying to make plans with friends. You have to set it up months in advance. Everybody is so busy. The life seems so complicated. It's crazy. So look, no blame here, right? It's no one's fault. It's just the way it is. And like I said before, there's always going to be distraction. There's always going to be chaos. There's always going to be something disturbing the field, right? But the question is, to what degree are we going to let it disturb us, right? I used to be really affected by every little thing, the people around me, the weather, the this, the that, and I could easily get thrown off course. But there's a way out, right? And that way out is in. And it's with these practices, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. But I want to just talk a little bit more about this extreme distraction that we're in with our phones. They're not just phones anymore. There's, it's access to the world's supply of information, which is amazing, but it's super distracting. Kids, family, responsibility. There's just so much going on. So what we need are these practices to help us go inward and counter the chaos to balance the crazy. Training ourselves to be less affected by it all so that we can live in the world and not be so affected by it, right? To be, one of my teachers says, to be in the world and not of the world, right? And Pema Chodron she talks about this. She's a Buddhist teacher, and she talks about this in a book, Living Beautifully with Uncertainty and Change. And what she says, and she puts it really well, right? She says that we are getting, I'm going to read this right because I'm terrible at quoting people word for word. So we are getting in-depth, intensive training in being distracted. And we need to counter this trend by getting intensive training in staying present. Right? Intensive training in staying present. So how do we do that? Building a stable foundation. Building that structure beneath us. Think of it like a house. If you're building a house, you need a stable foundation, whether it's made of concrete, whether it's made of wood pilings. You need a stable, strong foundation. So when the storms come, the house can ride it out, right? The house is okay in strong winds. The foundation is solid and secure. So it helps us to ride out these storms and enables us to be a little more fluid and flexible, like branches bending in the wind, or fluid like water, right? Like water just flows. It doesn't break every time there's a disturbance in the field. It's building this resilience to the constant change that's around us. So when the waves of life start crashing, because they inevitably will, that we have somewhere to go, and we have this base, we have this depth of ourselves, right? And it can be really minor. It can be when something doesn't go your way, or if there's construction noise outside, or a dog barking, or maybe you get disappointed by a partner or a child or a friend. It doesn't have to break you, right? You can be upset by it, right? Those are valid feelings. You can set boundaries for yourself, change what you can, but you can let the rest go, right? Like stand up for yourself, express how you feel, and then move on. It doesn't have to change who you are. It doesn't have to change your state of being for a long time. It can just change your state of being in that moment. And so how do we do this? The best way to do this is through daily meditation. So a daily meditation practice is the single most valuable gift that you can give yourself. It is the foundational practice that all of the rest builds from, right? So I like to think of meditation as, and this was something that was shared with me by one of my teachers, and I just thought it was so brilliant, especially because I live so close to the water, so it made a lot of sense. So here it goes. And I talk about this a lot, and I use this analogy a lot. You may have heard me talk about it before. I talk about it in all my programs and coaching and everything. So think of your daily meditation practice, or all of these yogic practices for that matter, but meditation specifically. You can compare it to swimming in the ocean. So if you've ever gone swimming in the ocean, right? Not a flat lake, but in the ocean, or maybe even if you've surfed, this might resonate really well with surfers. They're really going to get this. All you surfers out there, you're going to hear what I'm saying loud and clear. So if you've ever gone swimming and you approach the shoreline and there's waves crashing in and you want to get out there, you have to wait until wait out far enough until there's enough water beneath the wave for you to dive under to get to the other side, right? So when we practice daily meditation, what we're doing in effect is raising the water level, raising the depth of the ocean within us so that we can dive under that wave, that chaos, right? It's like creating a new baseline. When you meditate daily and consistently, when the waves of life crash around, you have a safe place to go to. It builds resilience. It creates that new baseline, more water beneath you to dive into. And in surfing, this is even called duck diving. Right? So when you paddle out on the board and you want to get to that set that's out there, all the smaller waves, you duck beneath the wave to get past the other side. And it allows you to be unscathed. Like if any of us have ever been swimming, you get pummeled by the wave and you end up in this like washing machine and you're full of sand everywhere and your hair is a mess. I mean, you could really get hurt on the rocks and the shells on the bottom and you just get tumbled. But if there's enough water underneath the wave, you can just slip beneath, hang out down there for a second, and then come back out when the wave's gone. Because the wave is just an undulation in the water. Like the wave is part of the ocean. The ocean is the wave is the ocean, right? And so it'll pass. It's just a disturbance in the frequency, right? So that's the power of meditation, right? Building that resilience, building that depth of the ocean beneath you. And what I want to share with you is probably the two biggest struggles that most people, most clients come to me with when they're starting a meditation practice. One is time, and the other is motivation or consistency. So time is an excuse. And I have to be frank about this because you can find 5 to 10 minutes a day. I would say like the only time that maybe you can't is if you have like twin toddlers and you're a single parent. Maybe you can't find the time, but I bet if you really wanted to, you could. Think about how much time we waste, right? Hitting snooze or playing around on social media, although it can be fun and it's engaging and all of that, or like Netflix. How many hours do we burn binging Netflix shows? You know, there is time. I saw a meme recently that was really funny that I shared that said, if Taylor Swift can release an album while on world tour, you can meditate for 10 minutes a day. And I just think that's brilliant because you can. There's time. You can make time. So putting the time excuse aside, right? The other thing that most people struggle with that come to me is motivation and consistency. Like they start, they're all gung-ho about it, but then they quickly lose the motivation. They don't have the motivation and they can't be consistent with it. So I have to tell you that relying on motivation to keep you going is not going to work, right? It's setting yourself up for failure, really. Motivation's not always going to be there, right? We need a little bit of discipline. We need a little bit of pushing through, right? Yeah, and making a commitment. So like think about going to the gym or training for a race. If you just did that once in a while, right? If you're going to the gym, I don't know, like once a week or once every other week or here or there when you feel like it, you're not really going to see much benefit. Like it might feel good in that moment, but long term, there's not going to be great benefit. Or like, for example, running a race, especially long distance stuff, but any kind of race or sports or anything like that, if you only practiced once in a while, you're not really going to get very good at it. And not that there's good meditators or bad meditators. That's a different topic entirely. But you're not going to build that muscle, that strength, that muscle memory within to perform. So there are days, all of us included, that you're not going to feel up to meditating, or you don't feel like it, or you slept in, or you're too busy, or whatever the excuse is. Maybe you're sick. And the truth is, those are the days you need it the most. So here are my 4-step strategy for building that consistency, right? Super easy. It's the 4 R's, right? Rest, routine, 1-minute rule, and regimen, right? Rest, routine, 1-minute rule, and regimen. Okay, so rest. We need rest. If you're not getting enough sleep at night, it's going to be really hard to do all the things you want to do during your waking hours. So sleep is super important. Finding a way to give yourself that rest is different for everybody. So you need to find a way to do it for yourself. And then this next step is routine, or like making it a ritual. So either one, routine or ritual. So your daily meditation practice needs to become a habit and so routine that it's like brushing your teeth. And that'll come in time, right? It doesn't happen right away, but sticking to that routine at the same time every day, making it a ritual. That's how you make it stick. It's making it a habit so rote in you that you feel weird or icky if you don't do it, right? And even if you deviate from the time a little bit, this is where the 1-minute rule comes in. Even if you deviate from the timing or you don't feel like it, just do it for 1 minute, right? You can do it for 1 minute. And then chances are, if you do it for 1 minute, you're going to do it for 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And it works. Trust me, it works. And then regimen. So following a regimen, I can tell you that I have been on countless meditation and yoga retreats and teacher trainings and meditation workshops. And most of the time, there's very little technique or instruction given, and we're just expected to sit there for a really long time and just like stop thinking. Like that's the instruction, is to just let the thoughts pass, right? Have any of you ever tried this? I was just talking to a client about this the other day on a coaching call, and she echoed the same thing. She was saying how she had been on so many retreats and workshops and all of these things, and until she started working with me and got a real technique or strategy, she was never really able to meditate or calm the mind. There was always so much noise and like restlessness and distraction. So that's the importance of needing a technique. Like I'm sure many of you have ever felt this way. If you tried to sit and like told your mind to stop thinking, it doesn't do that. It just keeps thinking, right? We talked about this in another training. It's the nature of the mind to think. So just willing it to stop thinking is not going to happen. So that's the magic of the techniques that I share, it's an actual structure, a regimen that you can follow that'll gain you access to that meditative state that we're looking for, right? To build that ocean beneath you, and it'll get you there really quickly. Right? So I teach a variety of different meditation techniques so you can access for yourself that space, that calm, peaceful, tranquil space. Right? And that's one of the reasons why what I teach is so special, because it's not mainstream. Like these techniques I learned in India and I brought them back with me to share with you. They're not at every yoga studio. Not every yoga teacher is teaching this stuff. Like these techniques are authentic and they work. They're super effective. If anybody, there's a bunch of you I see on here now have practiced with me, even like the new moon meditation in the group that we do every month. How quick do you get into that state with just a few minutes of breath? Right? It's amazing. So if you're interested, there's a few different ways you can access these trainings that I share. The first way, oh wait, you know what? One more point I want to mention. I have to use notes, otherwise I go on tangents. So bear with me. My notes are telling me that I wanted to talk about a couple more things. So, there are a lot of guided meditations out there, and they're beautiful and they're wonderful, and I enjoy them as well. They really do make you feel good in the moment, but the drawback from those is that you're still relying on someone else, right? You're relying on the voice of someone else to guide you into that space. What if you could guide yourself into that space every day without relying on someone else, right? That's the power of these practices. Another thing I want to mention, because they're so popular, are these meditation apps out there like Calm. I used to use Calm when I first started out before I had these techniques, and it was cool. I enjoyed it. It helped sort of make it a habit. I liked the music, and there's a lot of good guided meditations and things out there. But the thing about using an app to meditate is that now you're relying on technology. It's like going into the belly of the beast. You got to rely on your own technology. It's like setting up an AA meeting in a bar, right? Like maybe down the road, when you're far in your recovery journey, you could do that. But when you're first starting out, that is a recipe for disaster. Like, not recommended, not suggested. Right? So that's just a little nugget of wisdom there for you. So a couple of ways that you can start adding a daily meditation into your practice today, right? You can do this right now.